Hi guys, it's Beverly. Okay, I had a request for a tutorial to make this unisex cabled hat. And here was my example. And it has half double crochets and triple and front post doubles. And we're going to make this hat. So get ready. Here's the tutorial. Okay guys, let's get started on our hat. Okay, so I wanted to show you this up close. This hat measured, let me move this for you so you can see it. This hat measured, close to 10 inches. Okay, and that's kind of what we want, 9.5 over here, close to 10, and that's what we want. So here's the pattern. Hopefully you guys printed out the pattern, and it says that the hat measures about 20 inches to fit up to a 22-inch head. Okay, and so this explains our special stitches we're going to be doing. And then over here, the first part of this says is to chain 48 loosely. Over here, it says to use a number 4 yarn, and it suggests a K hook. And so that's what I'm going to do. So this yarn that I have is number 4, and it's basically mystery yarn. I got it at a yard sale, and it didn't have a label, but I thought it was a nice color. It's kind of a denim blue color, a light denim blue color, and it's a number 4. I tried making it in a hat with a smaller hook, and it was just coming out way too thick. So I'm going to use this K hook. I don't know if you can see. It's a furls and it's a K. I got it upside down. Let's see if I turn it. There's our K. We can see our K. So anyway, so we're going to start out by chaining 48 stitches loosely. So, most of you probably already know how to do a slip knot. But I do the slip knot really easy. I don't complicate things. I just put it around 1 or 2 fingers, and then I take my fingers out and I bring the working yarn behind and through the loop, and that's all I do. I've seen other people do their slip knot all kinds of weird ways, but if you know how to make a slip knot, you know how to do a slip knot for crochet. So now we're going to chain 48 loosely. So I'm going to show you real quick how I chain, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera. So I have my working yarn over my left index finger, and I have this slip knot on the hook. I'm going to go under my yarn with my hook, pull it up, pull through. Pull through, and after I get some going here, I like to hold the chain, and I usually chain about 4, and then I move my fingers up. So under the yarn, pull through, under the yarn, pull through. Now you can see it says loosely, so these are a little bit bigger than these first 2, but I just hold it and go like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 48, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I only have 30 chained, but I wanted to come back real quick and show you how I keep my chain from turning or twisting. We're going to be joining this in a round to begin the ribbed band. So what I do, in order to keep it from twisting, you can take the work off of your hook and you can see right here that we have this flat out and not twisted. You can take your hook and put it right inside that very first loop like that and not twist it, and then just put this loop back. And when we get done, it's not going to be twisted. And then leave this on and just go ahead and keep going. So now I have 32. And see how I have it? I'll meet you back. Okay, so now I have my 48. And if you look at my work, it is not twisted. So then what I'm going to do, I have 48, so I'm just going to hold it like this and just pull that last chain or loop right through the first one. Okay, now of course you can do it different. You can lay it out flat and, you know, do it, but that's how I do when I join in the round. Okay, so I'm going to move this pattern so hopefully you guys can see it too. It says to slip stitch into the first chain to form a ring. I just did. Chain 2, which counts as the first double crochet here and throughout. Half double crochet in each stitch around. So the chain 2 counts as the first half double crochet and half double crochet in each chain around. So you should have 48 half double crochets. Okay, now I do have a stitch marker, and so there's my slip stitch that I joined, and now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. Now this first row we're really not going to need the stitch marker because we know that this is our first stitch. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert the hook, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. We'll do it again. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way around, and again, make sure you don't have a twisted ring. Are they calling it a ring? Yes. Make sure you don't have a twisted ring, and count. And I'll meet you back when we have 48 half double crochets. Okay, so I have 47 half double crochets, and this is what I'm left with. If you take a look, that's what I'm left with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go inside of that loop and complete my half double crochet, and I'm just going to let that tail hang down. Now let's take a look at what the pattern says. Okay, so it says, hopefully you can read it, it says half double crochet in each chain around, join with the slip stitch at the top of the beginning chain 2. So that's what we're going to do. This right here is our first half double crochet, and then 1, 2 is that chain 2. So I'm just going to kind of split it in half, and so I need 2 loops. So I went in, see there's 1, 2, and I'm just going to go through that loop and grab the back one because I want 2 on my hook. I'm going to turn my hook, pull the yarn through, and pull the yarn through. Now I'm not going to worry about how this looks right here on the bottom, because later we're going to use this tail to sew this in. Okay, now it says for rounds 2 through 4, we're basically going to be doing the ribbed band. And then after row 4, we're going to be doing the body of the hat. Okay, so we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a front post around the next stitch. Then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch and a front post double crochet around the next. So that's going to make your ribbing. So you're going to have one front post double, and the next stitch is going to be a half. And we're going to repeat that. So let's begin. And let's see, make sure my hat's not twisted here. Kind of looks like it is, but it's not. And you just double check yours. Okay, so here we go. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And it's up to you if you want to put a stitch marker in. And so where the stitch marker would go in is right below this loop. So we would stick it right in that hole, and there's where we would do our slip stitch at the end of rounds 2, 3, and 4. So there's our chain 2, and then here's our next stitch. So we need to do a front post double crochet around this stitch. Now the directions tell us how to do it, but how you do it is you yarn over and you go in to that space to the right of that stitch. You come around the back and come up on the other side. Then you yarn over, pull that loop behind that stitch, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and see how it made a front post, and then that's our double. Now if we take a look at this, we're going to be doing front post trebles and front post doubles. So it's just like I did it. It says to yarn over, insert the hook from the front side of the work to the back and to the front again. Yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops twice. And it says to skip the stitch behind the front post. So if you take a look and you fold this down, you will see that that's the stitch right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to always stand our front post up so that we can tell that this is the next stitch. And we're going to be doing a half double crochet. Okay, so here's the next stitch right here. So we're going to do our half double in this stitch right here. And then we're going to skip this because you can see that this is right over top of this. So we're going to skip this stitch and we're going to go into the side there, behind the back, out the other side, like so. Now here's our next stitch. So we're going to do a half double crochet in this loop right there. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2. Now see, that one is right over that, so we're going to skip that and we're going to go right in beside, behind the back, out the other side, pull up a loop behind it, pull through 2, pull through 2, and you can see how it's laying. Okay, now the next one, this is the next stitch, but this is the loop. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook, pull through 3 loops. We're going to skip this stitch because that's for this. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, go behind the back, yarn over, pull up a loop behind that, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, yarn over, there's our next stitch. So we want to do a half double in this loop, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. And see, this is for that. So then we're going to skip over to here, yarn over, insert the hook, go behind, come out on the other side, grab the yarn, pull it back behind, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, here's the next stitch. There's the loop. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. See, this one is for that. We're going to skip this, yarn over, insert your hook, go behind, come out on the other side, pull it behind, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And see, this is how it's supposed to look. And I'm going to meet you back. Okay, I'm at the end of row 2. And I have 48 stitches. Now, if you look at this really close, you can see this is the half double crochet from the first row and the half double crochet from the second row. And hopefully you did half double crochets, because when I did it, that's what the half double crochet should look like. I made a mistake and I put a double in there. Okay, now if you have more than 48 stitches, it's possible that you made one of your stitches in the wrong place. So that's how you would end up with more than 48 stitches, is that you doubled it up somehow. Okay, so we're going to finish row 2. So there's the beginning chain 2 space. So what I want to do is I want to go in between these 2 loops here, and make sure I get 2 loops on my hook. Then I'm going to pull through and pull through, and that's my slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Now we've got to do row 3. So how you can tell your rows is you have row 1, row 2. So now we're going to do row 3. Row 3, we chain 2, 1 and 2, and we can put our stitch marker in that second chain, which is right there. Okay, and now we are going to do we're going to do a front post double crochet around this stitch. We're going to do a half double crochet right above these 2. Okay, so that's this row 2 is harder than rows 3 and row 4. Okay, because now we have these sections defined for us. So The chain 2 counts as our first half double. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go on the right side of that half double front post, double crochet. We're going to go right there. We're going to go behind, we're going to come out, we're going to pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then right above these, we're going to do our half. Pull through all 3. Okay, yarn over. Go right on the right side of that front post double. Go behind. Grab our yarn. Pull it behind. Pull it up. And finish our half double crochet. And so you can see they're looped right around each other. And so this is row 3. Row 3 and row 4 is just like row 2. I'll do it one more time and then I'm going to meet you back at the end of row 4. Yarn over. This is a half double. So we're going to insert our hook. Right there, 2 loops on our hook. Pull up a loop. Pull through 3. Yarn over. We're going to skip this. We're going to go right on the right side of that front post. Go behind. Yarn over. Pull it up. Pull through 2. Pull through 2. So that you can see we have 2 rows, 1, 2 of ribbing. So this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we're on row 3. Okay, I'll meet you back. So at the end of row 3, you slip stitch into your chain 2, top of your chain 2. Make sure you get 2 loops, chain 2, and repeat. So read your pattern or replay the video. I'll meet you back at the end of row 4. Okay guys, I got my 4 rows done, and please make sure that you have your 48 stitches. So let's see what says next for the pattern. Okay, so now it says to start the body. So we're going to chain 2 and we're going to front post around the next stitch, half double around the next, front post around the next, and then we're going to do half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we're going to follow this along. Okay, so let me get situated here. So I have my stitch marker in here so I wouldn't lose my place. And there is this. Okay, the directions say to chain 2 and front post around the next stitch. Okay. Chain 2. Front post around the next stitch. Then it says to half double around on the next stitch, so that's right next door. And then it says front post around the next one. So there's a front post around the next one. Okay, 2 doubles, front post, half, front post. Now we're going to do a half double in the next 3 stitches. Okay, half double, Whoop, I almost did a double. I think I did a double on that one too. See, that's the biggest problem with me in this hat. 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. I hope you cannot hear the guy mowing the lawn next door. Okay, half double front post double crochet around the next stitch, and a half around the next stitch, and a half around the next stitch, and then repeat. So I think what you do is you're going to do a half, so there's the front post, and then we're going to do a half, and then a post, okay, so we're right here, front, half, front. Now, it says repeat from the asterisk to the last stitch. So we're going to go back up here and we're going to do 3 halves. So it looks like the pattern for this row is half, 3 halves, front post, half, front post, 3 halves, front post, half, front post. Okay, to get to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so here's our 3 halves. There's our front post, half, front post. Now we're ready to do 3 halves. 1, 2, 3. And now we're ready to do front, half, front. So there's our 3 halves, front, half, front. Whoop. Okay, front, half, front. Now we're going to do 3 halves. 1, 2, 3. Front, half, front. And now we're going to do 3 halves. So hopefully at this point you got it down, and I'll meet you back 2 stitches. How's it? Got it word? To the last 2 stitches. Okay, I'm back to my last 2 stitches. Okay, and hopefully you checked yourself, to make sure that you have your front, half, half, half. And then the last part I did was front, half, front. And then now the directions say half double crochet in the last 2 stitches, and then slip stitch to join. And after this row, we are going to turn our work. Okay, so I'm going to do half, half, half and half. Okay, and then a slip stitch to join in the top of this chain 2. Make sure you get 2 loops, pull through and pull through. And that would be the end of round 1 for the body. Okay, row 2 of the body. We're going to chain 2, turn our work, and we are going to half double crochet in each stitch around and join with a slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2, and we will have 48 half double crochets. So I'm going to meet you back. Okay, so I'm done with the end of row 2 of the body, and I counted my stitches. I have 48 stitches, and I'm going to slip stitch to join, and then it says round 3, and we're going to look at these notes up here. These are notes, and we're going to start our round 3. Round 3, let's see if it says turn at the end of row 2. Surely it must. Yes, at the end of row 2, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Okay, so I chained 2 and I turned my work. Now it says to skip the first front post double 2 rounds below. Front post TR around the second front post double 2 rounds below. Okay, so let's figure out what we're talking about. Okay, so so what we're going to do is we are going to be doing a TR around the second front post double. Okay, we're ready for round 3. Now round 3 is a little tricky, so we're going to get it. So we finished our row of half double crochets and we chain 2 and turn. Okay, and we can put a stitch marker into this chain 2. Now we're going to be doing some front post trebles, and what you have to remember is even though we're not going in these loops up here, we have to accommodate for those loops or account for those loops. So here we go. So the directions say to go to do a treble in this for second half double crochet. So what that means is this one is represented by this stitch, the half double is represented by this stitch, and the first front post double is represented by this stitch. So we yarn over twice, we come down and we create a front post treble. Okay, and this is considered our second stitch. So even though it's way over here, it's being counted as this stitch. Okay, so you can pull it over there if you would like, so that you get the idea. So that means the next stitch that we do a half double in goes in this stitch next to it. So we kind of pull this over to represent the first stitch or the second stitch. Then we do a half double crochet in what would be considered the third stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now we yarn over twice. We come back and we get this treble, or this front post, and make a treble. Now what we have to do is consider this our fourth stitch. So that means that that is represented by this, okay? So if we hold it over, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means this stitch means this. So we're going to skip this and do 3 half double crochets in the next 3 stitches. And we're going to do this again, and I'm going to show you how we do it. Okay, so the next cross we do are over these 3 stitches. So we're going to do a front post treble over this. We're going to do a half double here, and then we're going to do our treble. So yarn over twice, get your front post and make a treble. And remember that represents this first stitch. Now we're going to skip this one back here and do a half double crochet. And now we're going to go back and do a treble. And technically, that stitch is represented by this one. So it would be like that. So we're technically skipping this one, and we're going to do 3 half double crochets in these next 3 stitches. Our next cross goes over these 3. So we do a treble over this one. Which counts as this first stitch. So that means we have to skip it, and we're going to do a half in this stitch. We're going to do a front post treble over this post. And technically, that counts as this stitch. Now in the next 3, we're going to do 3 half doubles, and then that would leave us with this. So we would do a treble, which counts as this stitch, a half, a treble, which counts as this stitch, and so technically you would be skipping and starting your next 3. So that's how it goes. And you should have 2 half double crochets at the end of this row, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 3. And if you take a look here, I have 2 half double crochets left. Now, I'm going to read this one more time, and it says, always skip the stitch behind a post stitch. The stitch behind a post stitch is in the round you would usually have worked into. So that means we have to leave that space open. Okay, so here's our half. Here's our last treble, so that counts for right there. And then we have 2 half double crochets to finish the round. And if you don't have 2 half double crochets here, then you made a mistake. So here's our last half double crochet, and then here is our chain 2. So we're going to take our marker out, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2, which is down here. See, that's the top of that treble. 1, 2. So right inside there is where you're going to go. Pull through, and that is the end of round 3. Now you should have 8 crosses, okay, or X's. Okay, so now round 4. Round 4 says we're going to turn our work, chain 2, and do half double crochet in every stitch around. We should have 42, and then I'll join you back for row 5. Okay guys, we're ready for row 5. Now row 5, we are going to do front post double crochets around the front post trebles. Front post around the front post trebles. Because if you look at your pattern, see how the ridging goes all the way up. The ribbing, or that's how we will do it. Okay, and it looks like that after we complete this row, we're going to, for rows 6 through 17 up here at the top, we're going to be repeating rows 2 through 5 3 times. So let's go ahead and do row 5. So at this point you should have completed round 4, which was you turned it and you did half double crochets in each stitch around. You did a slip stitch in the turning chain 2 chain and turned. Now we're going to chain 2, and I'm going to walk you through row 5. Okay, let's get my yarn situated over here. Okay, so let's turn our work. I like to chain 2 first. So let's chain 2. And let's put a stitch marker in our chain, our second chain. I gotta move this so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the chain. And we're gonna turn our work. I hope you guys can't hear the fan because I'm having a hot flash. Okay, now, so what it says to do is to do a front post double around the first TR on the 2 rows below. So what that means is down here. Okay, because there's our TRs. So we're going to yarn over 1 time. Go behind, come out, yarn over, pull through the loop, and do a front post double. Okay. Front post double around the first TR, 2 rows below. Half double crochet in the next stitch, and then do a front post double around the next stitch. So let's look at this. So as you can see, look at this in the right position. See, this one is crossed, but these two are straight. This one is crossed and straight, crossed and straight. So that's how this goes. All right. So there's our first straight one. And let's look at our stitches here. So we have, right here is our chain 2. Next door would be this stitch. So now we're going to half double in this one. So you always have to allow, and see it follows right up there, okay? So you always have to allow a space for that post stitch. So there's our half. Then we're going to yarn over once. We're going to come down here, grab that front post, and front post double crochet. Okay, and so there's our cross, and then there's the 2 straight ones going up. Then it says to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to repeat. Okay, so let's account for our stitches. So right here we have our half double crochet. The next stitch would be that front post. So in these next 3 we're going to do our half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now here's our first front post. So we're going to yarn over, go behind the post, come out on the other side, yarn over, pull through the loop, and finish our double. Okay, so over here was a half double crochet. This post counts for that stitch, so that means we're going to do, I gotta turn this towards me just a little bit to see the stitch. We're gonna put the half double crochet in this next stitch. We're going to yarn over, go down and get our post. I need some more yarn. Pull through the loop and finish our front post double crochet. Now we have to count for our stitches. So there is the half. This is the stitch for the post. So now in these next 3, we're going to do the half doubles. So hopefully at this point you got it. And that's what we do for row 5. I'll meet you back. Okay, so row 5 says that we should have 2 half double crochets at the end. And that's where I ended up. See, I have 1 and 2. So I'm going to go do a half double crochet here, and a half double crochet here. And then we're supposed to join in our chain 2 space, and I'm sure glad I marked that one because it kind of got pulled over. So we're going to go right in there and right in that top of the chain 2 and pull through a loop and pull through, and that finishes round 5. Now you can tell, especially with this yarn, this is not going to be a real stretchy hat. So like this one is a little more stretchy, but this yarn is a little bit more stiff. Okay, and remember I said this was mystery yarn because it didn't come with a label on it. Okay, so we finished row 5. Now our pattern says for rows 6 through 17, we're supposed to repeat rounds 2 through 5 3 times. So that means we would come back row 2, which is on the front of our paper, is the half double crochet row. So you do a half double, row 2 is a half double crochet. And see, how I would do it is I would get me a piece of paper and I would just have 3 columns because they want us to do it 3 times. So I'd write a 2, a 4, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's how I would know that I would finish it. So row 2 and row 4 are the half double crochet rows. Row 3 is the cross TR row. And row 5 is the front post doubles around those TRs. Okay? So this is row 3 and this is row 5. So you have a cross for row 3 and the straight ones for row 5. And the in-between rows are the double crochets. Now, it's after you finish row 17, 18, 19, and 20 is going to be one repeat of rows 2, 3, and 4. And then that's when we're going to start doing our decrease row to have the hat come in for the crown. So I'm going to meet you back when we've finished row 20. Now, you can rewind the video so that if you need to follow along. And like I said, I'll meet you back at row 20 so that we can do the shaping for the top of the hat. Okay, guys, I wanted to kind of show you where we're at. I did some of my rows here, and I'm not liking how it's coming out. If we look at this picture right here, it shows that the hat is kind of slouchy. So if the yarn that you're using is softer and you want a slouchy look, then you would continue the slouchy look. See, I just kind of had it fitted, and I think that's what I want this time. So at this point I have 15 rows, and you can see how it's coming out on Sally. And I'm really not liking the look. So I think what I'm going to do is figure out how many rows that we would do for a non-slouchy. Hi guys, I wanted to pop on here real quick and let you know that basically this hat is a slouchy hat. And if you look right here, you can see how it's kind of slouching. So it turns out that the size I made before and the size I made for Sally this time is not a slouchy version. So I determined that for the non-slouchy version, you repeat rows 1 through 5 once. Then you do rows 2 through 4 once, and then you begin the shaping of the hat. So in this video you're going to see that I did it quite a bit, which would have made it slouchy, but with this kind of yarn it's kind of stiff, and I really didn't want to do a slouchy. I wanted to do it similar to the hat that I did before, that I showed you in the series. Also, I wanted to do a shout out to Sondra, S-O-N-D-R-A, because she's the one that asked for the tutorial on this hat. And I really do love this hat. And it's too bad that I didn't make notes on here the last time I made it. And then I would have known, because I did, you'll see in the video that I made a great big long, you know, And with this yarn, it's stiffer, as I've mentioned several times, that a slouchy just wouldn't be good. But I'm real happy with this, so I'll let you go, and you guys can finish making your hat with the video, either in the slouchy version or in the non-slouchy, or whatever you want to call it. See you in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it on Sally, and I want to start doing the shaping for the top of the hat. So, sorry about moving the camera. What I did on the pattern is I repeated for a non-slouchy, I repeated rows 1 through 5 once, then rows 2 through 4 once, and then I'm going to go to the shaping of the top of the hat. Okay, so up here I repeated rows 2 through 4. Now I'm going to go here for the shaping of the top of the hat. Okay, so that makes your project not be as big as it would be if you were doing the slouchy version. I'm not doing the slouchy version. Okay, so from here, it looks like that this row is pretty much like row 5, except for we're going to be doing some half double crochets 2 together. Okay. Okay, so I finished my row 4, and I need to chain 2, and I'm going to put my stitch marker in that chain 2 space so I can find it later. I'm going to turn my work, and the pattern says to do a front post double around the first front post treble, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then a half double crochet around the next treble. So we've been doing that. Okay, so I've got my, let's see, where's my loop? Okay, so we're going to do a front post double around this first treble. Oh, come on. And that's going to count for this first stitch, which is right there. Then we're going to do a half double in the next stitch, just like we've been doing. And then we're going to do a half double around this treble. Get some more yarn and read our pattern. Okay, our pattern says to half double crochet 2 together, and then half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay. All right. So this stitch, we know, see, there's our half. So we know that this stitch counts for that stitch. So we're going to half double 2 together, these 2. So yarn over and yarn over again, and pull through all of the loop. Yes, that's how they're doing it. So you're going to be pulling through all 5 loops, and we're going to be doing that again. Then the pattern said to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Let's get this situated. Okay, let's see. So we did a half double crochet 2 together and a half double in the next. So now we're going to do a front post around the TR, a half double and a front post around the TR. And we're going to be repeating that to the last 2 stitches. So I'm going to repeat it with you one more time. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to go inside or around this first treble. There goes my papers and everything falling on the floor. Okay, so we know that this stitch is there, so this is our front post, and so we're going to do a half double in this next stitch, and then we're going to do a half double around this next stitch. Okay, and so we have our half double in that stitch, so then this stitch counts for our front post. So these next 2 stitches, we're going to do them together. So you yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 5 loops on your hook. You pull through all 5 loops. The next stitch, you do a half double, and then now we're ready for the front post doubles with the half in between. Okay, so right here, we're going to go down here, half, we're going to do front post double crochet, and then we've got to figure out where our stitch is. So there's our half double. This stitch counts for our front post. So this one here gets a half double. Go down and get this treble, front post, double crochet. Look at your work. So this is a half. So this stitch right here counts as your front post double. So these 2 get half double 2 together. 5 loops, pull through all 5. The next one gets a half. All right, so now we're back to front post double, half, front post double, and then the 2 together. So I'll meet you back when you have 2 stitches. Okay, I'm back. I have 2 stitches left, and so our pattern says to repeat to the last 2 stitches and do a half crochet 2 together and then join. Okay, so let's do that. So this stitch here goes in that. This stitch counts for that one. So I have 2 left. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, and right under here, you gotta kind of turn it to get our stitch, I think. Let me see. I guess right under there. It's not easy. There we go. I got 2 loops on my hook. Pull through and then pull through all 5. And then I'm going to undo this and join and meet you back. Okay, so I slip stitched and I joined. Chain 2 and turn your work. And on this row 2, we're going to do a half double crochet in each stitch around, and you should now have 40 half double crochets. So I'm going to meet you back. Okay guys, I counted my stitches and I did 40 half double crochets. So we're going to skip all this and we're going to join. So when you get 40 half double crochets, that's what you need. So I'm going to undo my stitch marker. I'm going to go right in over here and I'm going to take my working yarn wherever it is, and I'm just going to skip all this, and I'm going to go way over here and insert and do a slip stitch to join. So that's, this stitch marker is becoming really important. Okay, now, so we did this here. Now it says to chain 2, and we're going to turn. It doesn't say turn, but we're going to turn and chain 2, and then we're going to skip, and we're going to do a TR and then a half double and a TR. So that sounds pretty much like our other row 3. Then we're going to do half double crochets, just 2 together, and then that's going to be it. Because if you remember, we had 3 stitches, and then we did a half double crochet, and we had 2, so now we're going to do a half double crochet 2 together. Okay, so I'm going to chain 2 and turn and meet you back. Okay, chain 2, I got my stitch marker and I turned. Okay, let's look at this again. So we're going to skip this first one right here, and we're going to come over here and do a TR. Okay, so it's just like our normal row 3. See, we have we're time to do a cross. Okay, yarn over twice, come over here and do our front post treble. Okay, and the stitches are going to count just like they did. So here's our chain 2, so the treble we just did is going to count as that one. So we need to do a half double crochet in this stitch, and then we're going to do yarn over twice, and we're going to come back and do a treble on this one back here, like we did on our previous row 3s. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at our stitches. And so we have our half double crochet here, and this treble counts as that stitch. So that means that these 2 we're going to half double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. We've got 5. We're going to pull through all 5. Now we're going to skip all the way over here. So yarn over twice, come over here and get our treble. So we've got our treble. We're going to take a look at our work. So let's, right in that stitch is where we did 2 together. So that means this next one here is this stitch. So then we have to do a half double in this stitch. Yarn over twice. We're going to come back and grab this post and do a treble. Whoop, did you see? I slipped it through. So I gotta go separate this back out. Sorry about that. Okay, so I gotta go close off my treble. So I had to take a look at my work. So there's my half. So that means that treble counts for that one. So then that means these next two are the two together. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, pull through all 5. Okay, so at this point our hat's getting smaller, and we're going to do make our next cross and then 2 together. So I'm going to meet you back, and it says that we're gonna to the last stitch. So apparently there's just going to be 1 stitch to the last stitch, and we're going to see how that goes. So I'll meet you back. Okay, so I'm over here on my last cross, and so if I take and look at this, I've got my half double, so this stitch right here counts as my treble. So I have to grab this here and make 1 half double crochet. I think that's what it says. Yes. No, it says skip the last stitch. So don't even go in there. So you finish your, let's look at this closer. So we did our front post 2 rounds below, and you repeat that to the last stitch. Skip the last stitch and turn. Join with the slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2. And it looks like 16 and 16 is 32, so you should have 32 stitches. So skip the last one and go all the way over here and join. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's look at the pattern. So 16 and 16 is 32, so I counted my stitches. Now for round 4. Chain 2 and half double crochet 2 together 15 times. Skip the last stitch and join with a slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2. Okay, so 15 half double crochet. So we're going down to 16 stitches. Okay, so let's do that. Chain 1. Nope, let's see. Chain 2. Wait a minute. Chain 2 and then do half double. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do and meet you back. Okay, so now we're ready for the next row. So I did the half double crochet 2 together 15 times, and I slipped stitch to join in the top of the beginning chain 2. Turn. Chain 1, beginning in the same stitch as the join, single crochet around, 2 together around, until you have 8 single crochets, and then we're going to fasten off and sew a tail. Okay, so let's do that. Now, so in this stitch, I'm going to figure this out. That's where we joined. We chained 1. So we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. So you don't yarn over, you just insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook in the next loop, and pull through 3. And then we're just going to mark this right here. I could have gotten an easier marker this whole project, but we know how important this marker has been for this project. Okay. So insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 3. Insert your hook in the next stitch, pull through a loop. Nope, I did a yarn over, that's wrong. Insert, pull through, insert, pull through all 3. No yarn over. Insert, insert, pull through all 3. Insert, insert, pull all 3. Okay, I'm going to meet you back when I finish. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is slip stitch to the first stitch, and then we're going to fasten off and leave in a long tail, and then we're going to weave in the top. Okay, so we're going to take this off, and then we're going to insert, pull through. Let's kind of tighten this up just a little. Pull through, and then we've got to cut our yarn. And it says leave a long tail. I just leave about, 10-15 inches. I don't go crazy. Now, I think what we're going to do is before I pull this through, I'm going to put my stitch marker in this loop. And I could have done it before I cut it, but let's put it on Sally. Okay, guys, it came out good. Look at Sally. Sorry about that. Hey, guys, it came out good. Look at Sally. See how low it is on her face? And then we have it in the back. And I have to, oh, there's my husband in the background. And then I have to just sew it up, and Sally's hat would be done. And see, it's not as slouchy. Now this hat is kind of tight because the yarn is not as forgiving or stretchy, but I think our hat came out good. Yeah, the yarn is not that stretchy, so it's a small, tighter fitting hat, but I think it came out good on Sally. Okay, so I finished it off, and then I have my tail with my darning needle. And then I'm just going to turn it inside out and go in and out of these loops and then finish it off. So Sally will have a new hat. And of course, we have a new hat for donation. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. So basically, we ended up making either a slouchy hat or just a normal fitting size hat. And the stretchier your yarn would be, the looser it's going to be. But hopefully this will work for a smaller person. And see, it came out really nice, you guys. And you did cables. Okay, you guys. Hope you like it. Thumbs up. Love you. Bye.